Hey, hi, how you doing? This is Ryan, and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. So I've made it no secret that I have amnesia. I have severe memory loss. My hippocampus was damaged and basically wiped out all of my childhood memories and a good portion of my teenage years. Now, I'm not here to trauma dump. I'm just providing you all context for where the creation of this very video came from. Because you see, I got to thinking, I have a unique perspective to provide, as I believe it would be fair to say that a lot of my opinions are most likely subconsciously influenced due to my current position. Now that can be applied to a lot of things, but of course, given the name of the YouTube channel, let's stick to video games for now. Because you see, unlike most video game players, most gamers, I don't have any nostalgia for a fond childhood past of playing games growing up. I don't have this influence. I don't have this bias. You see it all over the internet, gamers reminiscing about growing up playing games on their Sega Genesis, their Super Nintendo Entertainment System, their original PlayStations and Xboxes, their Nintendo 64s, their Sega Dreamcasts, and eventually upgrading to the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 and the Nintendo Wii. Growing up as a kid, becoming a teenager and playing all these games, getting all these consoles, moving from generation to generation. I've got none of that. Now, based on information I was able to discover on this very YouTube channel of mine, I apparently started only playing video games around 2009, but I got no memory of that. The earliest I can remember playing video games is around 2013, but even that's a bit fuzzy. So, I have a bit of a unique perspective to provide as an adult who plays video games and has been playing video games for the entirety of what life I can remember, but has no childhood nostalgia, no childhood memory of gaming, which no doubt influences a lot of my opinions that I have on gaming today. Let's go through some examples. There's a very vocal portion of gamers online who believe that gaming was better back in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, that there was something special and magical about those decades in gaming. And then, here I am, still playing all these modern video games and just filled with a sense of wonder and excitement. I'm engrossed in all of these stories and characters and worlds. I'm exhilarated by their gameplay, systems, and mechanics. I'm left in awe of their visuals, their graphics, their audio and music. And then I look at the previous generations of games that so many online proclaim to be better than what we currently have, and I just don't see it. I just don't feel it. But of course, I'm no fool. I totally understand that back in the day when these games first came out, they must have blown people's minds. With how video games continue to progress and grow and evolve in their storytelling, in their visuals, their audio, their gameplay. But to come to the conclusion, to have the opinion that all these games from 10, 20, 30 years ago were all better than what we have now? Nah, I'm sorry. I can't agree with that. Now, don't get me wrong, I totally understand the emotional connection one must have. Our emotions, our feelings are some of the most powerful aspects of our humanity. But coming from the perspective of someone who has absolutely no memory of their childhood and playing video games growing up, while I absolutely see and appreciate the craftsmanship of a lot of these older games that came out in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, I really do. Where I struggle to get on the same page is when folks make claims like, the original Doom from 1993 and Halo 2 from 2004 are the best first-person shooter video games of all time, and nothing has surpassed them. Ooh, I don't know about that, my friend. Have you played Doom Eternal, Titanfall 2, Ultra Kill? I've played these older games as an adult, and I've played these newer games as an adult. And I gotta say that I can't say I share the same feelings. While all these games that have been mentioned are all quality products and works of art in their own ways, I gotta say, I lean more favorably to the more modern games. Another example, a lot of older gamers who grew up as a kid playing video games say that video games nowadays lack quality, they lack content, and they're filled with invasive monetization in comparison to older titles. Now, undeniably so, this is just fact, there's no arguing this, monetization has become pervasive throughout all of gaming. Doesn't matter if I have amnesia or not, that's just reality. But overall quality and content? No, I can't agree with that. As an adult, playing these older games you grew up with as a kid and playing modern games today, I gotta say the quality and the amount of content is pretty on par, and in terms of amounts of content, most modern games surpass older games in terms of varied playable content. I mean, just looking at several of my top 10 favorite video games over the past several years, I don't know how you could argue that these games have less content in comparison to older games. We've got Lost in Random, Resident Evil Village, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Grime, Kena Bridge of Spirits, Mortal Kombat 11, A Plague Tale Innocence, Gears 5, Devil May Cry 5, Borderlands Free, Warhammer Vermintide 2, Vampire, Ni no Kuni 2, Monster Hunter World, Middle-earth Shadow of War, Wolfenstein 2, The Evil Within 2, Prey, Resident Evil 7, Neo, Total War Warhammer, Dishonored 2, Deus Ex Mankind Divided, Dark Souls Free. I mean, how are any of these games lacking in content? If anything, with all of these games I've mentioned combined, you could be playing all these games for years. They have so much content. So honestly, I gotta say, I don't believe this is a personal bias thing coming from me. Modern video games are just still absolutely providing quantity of content. When it comes to quality, well, there's no getting around this. That's up for debate. Personally, I would present my evidence and argue for that modern video games most definitely provide a great deal of quality experiences, and that rose-tinted nostalgia goggles just have way too much influence on public discourse, but hey, I don't have nostalgia, and I can't just dismiss this whole other perspective when I'm lacking that experience. Moving on to another example, there's a lot of gamers who grew up playing these certain franchises that were aimed at their original age demographic. But now the audiences have grown up with these games. The game franchises still target children, but now a bunch of adults play them who played the older games back in the day. For example, Mario, Sonic the Hedgehog, Pokemon. These are game franchises that are made for and target children, but the vast majority of people who play these games are adults who played these games as kids back in the day. And for me, someone who has no memory of their childhood, I don't know if I grew up playing these games. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't, but I don't have those memories, I don't have that nostalgia for these franchises, so when I see these video games, I see them as games made for kids. By no means am I degrading or debasing these games, these franchises, the developers behind them, the people who play them. I'm just sharing with you as someone in my position, from my perspective, without childhood nostalgia for these franchises, I don't see the appeal. Literally hundreds of millions of adults, full-grown-ass men and women, get excited when a new Mario, Sonic, or Pokemon game gets released. And I just don't get it. Like, I can logically, rationally piece it together and understand it, but I can't relate in any way. It's, in a way, alien to me. Of course, hey, you do you. Play what games make you happy. Whether that's Mario, Sonic, Pokemon, or even Putt-Putt. But by all means though, let me know in the comments section down below. Help me understand. Why do you still buy and play from these video game franchises from your childhood that are still to this day aimed at children? Is it purely because you still find them fun to play? Does it not feel alienating or awkward playing these kids' games as an adult? I'm genuinely curious as someone who doesn't, or maybe even can't and will never, feel the way you feel about these games. So please, by all means, share in the comments. I'm genuinely very fascinated. Lastly, the final talking point I want to bring up, and that's using the term gamer as a descriptor for oneself, as a lot of people seem to take pride growing up being a gamer as a kid, having a gamer lifestyle as a teenager. Now, based on what I can put together from what information is available about me online from years back before the memory loss, it appears that I might have had this gamer lifestyle as a teen, having this self-worth, self-esteem around the gamer moniker. I mean, I called my YouTube channel The Gamertron Show, so obviously, at the very least as a teenager, I felt somewhat passionate about being a gamer and wanted to show it off and proclaim it. Now perhaps if I had those childhood and teenage memories, if I had that nostalgia, I'd feel differently about it than I do now, but as it stands now, it makes me fucking cringe and I feel shame from it. Because where I am in life, life right now, who I am in life right now. I am more than just playing video games. There is more to life than just playing video games. I still love video games as entertainment, as a medium, as an art form, but I'm not defined by them. I'm not defined by what video games I've played or am playing right now. I find that very sad, honestly, because life, despite all the horrors, is filled with so much beauty, so much wonder, so many opportunities, so many experiences to have, that limiting one's life, one's hobbies, one's personality to just video games, playing video games, talking about video games, and only nothing but video games, it just feels wrong to me. But hey, what if I had childhood memories, childhood nostalgia? What if I did? Again, I don't fucking know. What if I did grow up playing all these games, having these same experiences as so many who experienced these older generations of gaming, who fell in love with these older generations of gaming? Personally, I would still argue that for the sake of your mental health, everything in moderation, including video games, doesn't matter how much you love a thing, anything, everything in moderation. But that aside, I am still nonetheless lacking this experience that so many have. So my judgments can only go so far, because I don't have childhood memories. I don't have nostalgia. So the best I can do right now is just ask and have a conversation with others about it. That's been a video. Thank you for watching. If you did indeed like the video in any way, shape, or form, please be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment in the comment section down below, share the video on social media, Twitter, Reddit, and Facebook, and if you want to help out and support me directly, please consider making a super thanks donation here on YouTube, or consider making a donation via my Buy Me a Coffee page via the link in the description down below. Anyways, once again, that's been a video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all later.